Continued. There are basic laws of our universe. One of these laws is the law of reverse influence. Its essence is that the system, which is the cause, influences its parts. But these parts also necessarily influence the system in reverse. The human brain creates reality according to a pre-written program below the level of awareness. The server makes changes to it. This means that people also influence both the server and the subconscious in reverse. And through them, the physical world. It is obvious that people create reality in the future with the power of thought. Before doing something, they first imagine it in their imagination. It is less obvious that people change the past with the power of thought. Each country rewrites history in order to increase the patriotism of the population and its own importance. Historical material evidence is adjusted to this model. The correct interpretation becomes reality, and people behave in accordance with this history. It seems impossible that people change reality with pure thought in the present. Raise your hand. You have just changed the physical universe with the power of thought alone. Americans believe in money, and money has great power in their world. In West Africa, people believe in voodoo, and the cult has great power in their world. If someone creates an object in their imagination, other people will not see it. But what if many people create this object at the same time? The same object in the same place. Will those who do not participate in the experiment see it? When many people imagine one object, then the server partially accepts this as real changes. The degree of this acceptance depends on the number of people participating in the experiment, as well as the strength and duration of their imagination. And it does not correspond to the transparency of the object, but to the gradient of reality of the physical universe. A similar natural formation, traces of an object, a simpler object, an exact copy. People who will not participate in such an experiment, but will observe the place of appearance of this object, will even be able to follow all the stages of its materialization. That is, I want to say that people can create solid objects with only the power of their thoughts. There are about 100 million types of viruses. If one of them behaves in a special way under a combination of many circumstances, many may think that a new type has appeared. When a billion people think about a new virus, they create it. This virus begins to really exist, and there are several such examples in history. If 1,000,000 people imagine Noah's Ark on Mount Ararat, then a square rock similar to the Ark will be visible on satellite images. When 10 million people believe in Noah's Ark, footprints in the snow and fragments of the supposed Ark will be found. When 1,000,000,000 people think about it, the expedition will find a well-preserved Ark in its entirety. That is, before this, there was nothing on the mountain except snow and rocks, but the Ark appeared when many people created it with the power of their imagination. Just as natural rocks off the coast of Japan gradually turn into fairy tale palaces created by an unknown ancient civilization. In the previous video I said that the server has a ban on transmitting objects created by the imagination. This is not true. It is a simple mechanism for transmitting changes. It is not the server that prevents a person from creating objects in the physical universe with the power of thought. The person himself does not believe that he can make changes in reality with the help of one consciousness. And all the people around him do not believe in it. Collective beliefs form a reality in which the mind cannot directly control matter. The server only transmits what is. If everyone was sure that this was possible, then everyone would easily create anything with their imagination. When everyone thought that a sorcerer could cause rain and drought, he easily did it in reality. When everyone thought that a sorcerer could cause illness or cure a person, he did this too. But when some people began to doubt his abilities, a new reality was formed and he lost his supernatural power. When the population believed in giants, they were actually created by the collective imagination, and helped people carry heavy objects. When it became difficult to feed them, people began to think that it would be better if there were no giants. And they were gone. When people believed that elves lived in the forests and gnomes lived underground, different creatures appeared under the influence of a common consciousness. But when the peasants cut down the forest and planted grain, they thought only about how to store more food for themselves. The gnomes became unnecessary and turned into fairy tales. But the horse remained, since it helped a lot in the work. Reality is created by a collective mind, and the thought of one cannot change it. But there is a loophole. A person can create something with his mind that has no resistance from other people. Something new, something that others have never thought of. Something that will be unreal enough for others. Then it will fall out of reality and will be created in the physical world by the power of thought alone. And it will become real. Some people in past civilizations found a way to change reality so that resistance would not interfere with them. And they made fabulous cities. Traces of this have been preserved in the form of stone megaliths and individual artifacts. People do not study the past and the future. People create it. Just as, perhaps, they do not study the present.